Chemtrails.
Turn frogs gay.
Chemtrails. Chemtrails.
Live from Cool Boys Central.
You can be the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
Hold your dicks and rub your tits.
You'll be ice cold.
Here come the Cool Boys.
Just a young boy.
So cool.
So cool. So cool.
I see cool boys.
This is starting off with no fire, no energy.
I have mono.
Whip out your dick. Get us excited.
You're not dispelling my current conspiracy theory
Okay.
What is it?
that Nolan's gay, which is why he just asked me to whip out my dick.
All right. Well, I'm drinking tonight a Lagunitas Pils Czech style Pilsner.
Yeah, Chuck.
Good choice.
Yeah, just keeping it simple. Lagunitas Czech style Pilsner.
I'm Chuck.
Well, as you crack that open, I'm sipping on a nice glass of Pinot Noir, keeping it classy, keeping it gay.
I like how you cross your legs.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a conspiracy tonight.
Yo.
It's all hanging out there for Felk.
But no, I want to see that fucking pussy. Open your legs.
Okay, here you go. Woo.
Show me the biscuit.
Ooh, you love saying biscuit. I am not drinking any alcohol tonight. I'm drinking water because I'm sick, which I'll get into later. But I've been drinking NyQuil, and maybe later I'll be drinking some NyQuil. It's 10% alcohol, and it's basically the closest thing we have to ludes. I've never done ludes, but I just know the description from The Wolf of Wall Street, where like ludes, if you like fight the urge to fall asleep for 15 minutes, you get pretty fucked up, and that's what NyQuil can do. I'm not going to fight the urge to fall asleep. I'm going to go with it, but I have definitely in my college days taken NyQuil, fought off the sleepiness for 30 minutes, and then. Oh, the shadows, they dance.
That's got to be a Southern thing, man. I don't think people here in California really do that unless...
No shit, because you can get weed in every street corner in California. In Texas, you go to jail just for mentioning marijuana. So people have to get creative, and that's why people like robo-trip. Like when I came out here, no one had ever heard the phrase robo-tripping. Robo-tripping.
What the fuck is that? I've still never heard of that.
Ballard, do you know what robo-tripping is?
I've heard of that, but I mean, like, I don't know what that is.
It's where you take low doses of Robitussin, or just take Robitussin and
Robitussin,
higher doses,
okay.
or you take it in low doses and mix it with like energy drinks and caffeine and shit. But you can hallucinate. NyQuil, I'm looking forward to it. Greetings, Cool Boy Nation, and welcome to another installment of the Cool Boys Podcast. I'm Felk.
And I'm Ballard.
And I'm Nolan.
And today or tonight or whatever time you happen to be listening, we'll be discussing conspiracy theories. In this episode, we call Conspiracy Boys.
Bailey, shut up!
Whoa. Who is Bailey?
Bailey's
The conspiracy continues.
Bailey is my third child that we lock in a crate and spray with a hose where she gets all mouthy.
Technically, she's your first child, right?
Bailey's my dog.
But first, we have some Cool Boy updates. So, gents, what have you been up to?
Well, I guess we should get into at least last week's episode. So, by the way, Cool Boy Nation, you probably couldn't realize from the edit, but we had an incredible amount of troubleshooting on that episode. At first, Nolan's mic just took a complete shit dive and just decided to crap out on us like multiple times. I think we had to stop recording a few times. You probably didn't realize that. And then we did leave a little bit in there to make sure that you could, like, there's a little hint of what's going on. And then by the end of the internet episode of all things, Felk, you lost your internet.
Yeah, it was that was beyond my control. There was
completely beyond your control.
What?
Yeah, completely beyond your control.
There was three fucking full-on trucks working on the poles around my street. So obviously something happened that was relatively severe, so it wasn't just a mild thing.
North Korea?
I don't think North Korea has the ability to affect things
Russia?
like that.
China?
Maybe Russia. Maybe the Cloud people. Maybe the Triads.
Reptilians?
No, they're not real.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Cool Boy Nation, if you're out there and you're Chinese or Russian and you like us, don't shut us down next time.
Are we available in those countries? I mean, I assume we.
I know we're huge in Mexico, Colombia, Canada, the UK, and Australia.
It's one
Huge.
each.
Huge viewership.
And then, so besides, not only was Nolan's mic cursed, and then Felk's internet was cursed, but my computer was cursed. While editing the episode, I lost my computer. It actually crashed on me, complete hard drive failure, and it is now at the Apple Store getting a new hard drive put in it as we speak.
Whoa.
Well, how'd you
Fortunately
get the
for
edit?
me, I have other computers, but that was my main computer that did go down. But the shitty thing is that my last backup on that machine was June, so that sucked.
That does suck.
I think all I lost was probably like a little bit of porn and like maybe a few songs. That's about it.
That's devastating, though.
Yeah,
Porn, few songs. Come on.
a few porns, a few songs.
End of the world.
It was hell. So my computer went down, and but whatever, we got the edit done, and it is out for you, Cool Boy Nation. So check it out. Check it out. We talk about the internet. But anyways, so I guess other than that, gentlemen, since the last time I saw you guys done anything cool? Noli, anything cool?
Well, I was just going to say, since tonight's topic is conspiracy theories, I wanted to quickly know what your favorite conspiracy theory movies are.
I don't really know of any other than the obvious, which I will not say for the fact that will be used later in the episode.
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy Theory starring Mel Gibson.
No, what'd you say?
Conspiracy Theory starring Mel Gibson.
I couldn't hear that. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
You just fucking with me?
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay. Well, way to fuck with somebody who has a sore throat enough that he has lidocaine be switching.
So anyways, I would say for me, it would not be Conspiracy Theory starring the glorious Mel Gibson and the, stunning Julia Roberts. But I would say maybe just JFK. That was a pretty good one. Oliver Stone's JFK.
I think JFK's well-made movie that's very unrealistic and inaccurate.
Yeah, but I think it's like...
What?
But it's still a conspiracy film, right? I can't think of anything else. Maybe if you think of something else that I might like more than JFK, but
I'll tell you what you like more.
Sure.
You like one of my favorite truthers. He made two films that are fantastic: Shadow Conspiracy and The Arrival. I'm talking about the one and only Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah, I love The Arrival. That's a good one.
That's not conspiracy theory. That's a movie on
It's
aliens.
like aliens. But
Alien
I was
Conspiracy.
making a joke because have you seen Shadow Conspiracy?
No, but I have seen Arrival or
I've
The
seen
Arrival and Arrival.
I don't consider those conspiracy. I mean, I was thinking like Loose Change, which is terrible.
Oh, Loose Change, the documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Jet
it's-
beams can't melt steel dreams.
What is that
Yeah.
film at this point? The guy added something new every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Like, there was even a version he released on Netflix that you could watch on Instant Watch.
I don't know what version I saw, but it was many moons ago.
I may have seen the original version online because I recall seeing it fairly quickly after 9/11.
Yeah, me too. But do yourself a favor, Cool Boy Nation. Watch the Shadow Conspiracy trailer. A guy jumps through a movie screen shooting him a gun. It's fantastic.
Shadow conspiracy.
Oh, that's the money shot that they
Is the money
sold the
shot.
movie on.
Yeah, but I actually looked at this briefly. I don't really like conspiracy theory movies. A lot of them are shit.
I
But-
can't think of any, like, honestly,
But
other
if
than
if
what
I had to
was
watch
mentioned.
one over and over again, it'd probably be
Enemy of the state.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
have something they want. I don't have anything.
Okay, yeah, that's a conspiracy theory. That's like a thriller. So yeah, I guess conspiracy theory movies are like thrillers, right? So
or like if the plot is a conspiracy happening,
like The Firm,
Manchurian
I guess,
Candidate,
right?
maybe The Firm.
The Firm, yeah. Enemy of the State, that's a fun one. I like
It's
that
fun.
one.
It's fun.
I feel like it was ahead of its time because that's like a 2008 film or 2011 almost even film kind of. What year was that? Like
I
98,
don't know.
99? No, way later.
The cast is fucking incredible. Everyone in that movie is like a big movie star at some point.
Yeah, Jack Black, Seth Green, Jamie King, or whatever it is.
Barry Pepper, Will
Barry
Smith,
Pepper, Will Smith, of
some
course.
guy
Yeah,
named
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Jeannie Hackman.
Tom Sizemore. This has the same ending as True Romance. A shootout in a room where the mob and like the bad guys kill each other while the hero's like caught in between, like lying on the ground. Anyway, so that, I just want to know that. But now I
Well-
know you guys don't watch conspiracy theory movies, but here we go with the whole episode talking about them.
Well, not about movies.
Yeah, okay, real deals.
Yeah, we're talking about the real deal, serious conspiracy theories. All right, well, Felk, how about you, buddy? Have you done anything in the last week? You sound pretty sick. What's up?
I am sick. I may have mono. Tune in to last episode on possible theories on how I may have got the kissing disease. But I'm on a lot of medication to combat the feelings of mono. And if I exit this episode prematurely, that's just because I can't fucking stay awake, because I am going to be taking NyQuil, and I'm on DayQuil all day, and DayQuil is, like I said, fucking effective. But NyQuil, I've never done heroin, but I assume it's at least somewhat as effective as NyQuil.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't be podcasting tonight, but I'm a soldier.
You are a soldier.
I'm a motherfucking
I think I had
trooper.
NyQuil once, and it was recently, and it was way after they removed all the crazy stuff out of it, so you can't get like high on it anymore or whatever it is.
No.
And
That shit's still in there.
I fell asleep. Oh, is it still there? I thought it was like removed. I thought they got rid of some of that.
How have you only had NyQuil once? Do you not get sick?
Yeah.
I don't get that sick usually,
Dextro,
and if I get that sick, I just
Menorphin.
fucking beef it off. You know,
Beef it off.
just beef it off.
You're so strong.
I just beef it off. I just sit in bed and flex.
Beefing sounds like you're farting.
Sure, that
Yeah.
wasn't a great way to get rid of a cold.
No,
Beef it off.
it's a dextromenthorphan is the shit that
Oh, yeah.
they mentioned on that episode of Sopranos. No, it's still in there. You have to like give your driver's license so they can like add it to the registry to make sure you're not buying it every day, multiple days across the county, because that's how you make meth or something.
So wait, did they remove then that whatever it is that makes meth out of Sudafed? I know they removed some kind of drug out of some kind of like over-the-counter drug to stop.
That's
people from doing
pseudoephedrine,
something.
or pseudo as they call it in Breaking
Okay.
Bad. Yeah, that's another way to make.
Scissorup? Is that Scissorup?
That might be it, actually. Yeah, Scissorp.
Scissorp.
Sizrup.
Scissorup?
Scissorp.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Felk, that you're sick. It does
Me
sound
too.
like we might know why, and that you know, buyer beware, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know. Look, you climb. If you're a professional skateboarder, you're gonna scrape your
Yep.
knees. You're gonna scrape your knees.
That's right. You break a leg.
You like climbing Mount Everest in K2. Some of your friends are gonna die. Maybe you will.
I love this analogy.
You know, that guy who climbed up Mount Everest that's talked about in the Lost World, where you know, it's like, why'd you go up there to die? He's like, I didn't. I went up there to live.
That's what you did.
That's what I
Well, you
did.
did. You lived.
And I got mono, probably. Pete Postlewaite's the only good thing about that movie. Well,
Rest in peace.
One of the better things.
I disagree, but that's for another day.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, next week's Cool Show topic: 1997's The Lost World.
Top 5 moment.
I'm on DayQuil. You're gonna have to rein me in here.
Ballard, you're not on DayQuil. What have you been up to?
I'm going to change up my update. So my update's kind of modified over the last 24 hours. It started off as I need to watch documentary now, season 2, get back into that. It's not as strong as season 1. And if you take that off of what Felk and Nolan have already experienced in season 1, that's not saying much for season 2. It's still funny though. And then I finally watched the season premiere of Below Deck. It's good. It's a huge cast, but I don't want to talk about that either. So I had a new update. No, it's not my computer, just crashed like 2 days ago. My update is the fact that I finally completed episodes 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3 with my children.
Whoa, that is huge.
Oh God, I was worried you were gonna say of Below Deck.
Yeah, no, I know what he's talking about.
No,
Wow.
but that's what
You
you're
did it.
thinking. That's a false flag. Your update saying Ballard finally saw the season premiere of Below Deck is a
That's right. It's called a false flag, and that is a reference to conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Good job, Felk.
see, I'm just wrapping
Way to tie it in.
tying it all together. But
That's
no,
good.
But not to interrupt, because that's a momentous. Assuming you're talking about Star Wars.
Yes. Oh, yes. I am discussing Star Wars. So, yes, my kids finally finished it, and they were absolutely heartbroken to find out at the end. So, the way they watched it was 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And they were heartbroken to find out that Anakin went bad. They didn't realize Anakin was Luke and Leia's father. They knew that Darth Vader was Luke and Leia's father. So when Anakin cuts off Mace Windu's hand and then sides with the Emperor, they were both like, what the fuck? And had like stopped eating their popcorn and like just like were both shocked. Coco covered her eyes for a moment. Liam was just like totally just silent, which is not like him. He's a little fucking chatterbox. And yeah, they were actually shocked by that. And then Coco was like really sad watching the entire third act take place, seeing the younglings pretty much about to get just wrecked. She put it together.
That is, if you're a kid seeing that is really fucked up that like the character who's been the hero of the last 2.5 movies just goes, well, these kids got to die because my new boss made a vague promise.
Yeah, these kids. Okay, so my children, like, liked Annie. Are you an angel, Annie? And then, like, all of a sudden, he's like killing fucking babies, and then fucking like, battling Obi-Wan and screaming and choking his fucking wife to death. And like, and my daughter's just like, this is fucking intense. And it was.
I hope she said that literally.
No, she didn't say that literally. But this is pretty much like was a really, really hardcore ending. And I kind of looked back at it and thought, I'm happy I showed him 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But I think if I went back, I would do it 1 through 6 because it is a fucked up way to end. And so I don't tell them about 7. I have not told them about 7. They don't know about episode 7 at all. As of right now, I told them they just finished Star Wars. I'm going to spring it on them next May the 4th and be like, oh, did you not know about episode 7 and episode 8? And then just have 2 more episodes to show them at that point. Guys, would you rather stick a gerbil up your ass for a month and let it find its way out like Lemmy Winks, but you cannot die from its fantastic voyage throughout your body, or get tremendously triple teamed by Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, and Steve Guttenberg with strong sucking, forceful fucking, and daunting docking for 16 hours straight with 2 weeks in the hospital recovering, but no medical leave pay? That's important, because that's important for someone like me, where I would normally go, 2 weeks in the hospital, that's 2 weeks off of work. No medical leave pay? See, that's, I don't know now.
Wait,
I'm union, so I don't get that anyways.
Are you paying for the surgery?
I don't know if you have to pay for the surgery, but you don't get any salary benefits or anything. Well, you don't get any salary, but you still get your benefits.
Well, if I have to pay for the surgery of my asshole being sewn back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like 3 or I guess 4 gay dudes have fucked for 16 hours straight all the time. It's probably happening right now in West Hollywood with strong sucking, forceful fucking, and daunting docking. The alliteration.
Don't forget the docking.
Yeah. For 16 hours straight without like, why would there be 2 weeks of hospital recovery from that? Unless you're talking about brutal fucking violent rape.
It's forceful. It's forceful fucking. That sounds like rape to me.
Strong sucking is not going to cause any kind of damage that requires 2 weeks of hospital recovery.
On your testicles?
Docking is just a little bit of stretching of your foreskin, right?
Too much.
Too much.
But forceful fucking, I guess you could tear up an asshole a little bit. You get a little bit of anal fissure. Oh, yeah. They stitch you up and you recover outpatient. There's nothing sexual that can be done that requires 2 weeks of hospital recovery.
Known to you, Felk, this clearly states you're going to be in the hospital for 2 weeks because something bad is going to happen.
Something's going to happen.
Something very bad.
Well, then it crosses the line of what would be considered sex and moves into like fucking like torture.
Yeah.
Forceful fucking.
Felk, just think of the whole Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, Steve Guttenberg attack as more something along the lines of irreversible.
That wasn't 2 weeks of recovery required for that scene.
If there were 3 French dudes fucking her in the subway tunnels, then maybe.
No, with the French healthcare system, they would spend 30 minutes like stitching her up, give her an ice pack, say, here's the phone number for the mental health line, and send her on her way.
What if they fucked like an actual hole into one of her butt cheeks or your butt cheek?
Oh yeah, well. I don't think that's possible to do with a human cock. I think you'd hurt the cock.
My cock.
If you were trying to like fuck like a hole in someone's stomach, I think the cock would be hurt before the stomach would be.
This question also leads me to believe. I keep thinking about now who has the biggest dick. So I'm thinking this is like a Love That Dong episode. It's like
I think Tom Selleck and Ted Danson have the exact same size dick, and then Steve Guttenberg's like super small.
who's sucking, who's fucking, and who's docking, or is it just all of them are doing all? So they're all uncut?
Gutenberg is not docking because he is circumcised, right?
Okay.
So Gutenberg's probably doing the strong sucking, and you don't get a name like Steve without strong sucking. Okay,
Hi, Steve.
and then forceful fucking. Come on, that's Tom Selleck. That's Tom
know.
Selleck every day.
He was
And he's
Indiana
fucking-
Jones almost.
He's fucking huge and he's jacked. That's why you're in the hospital forever.
And then Ted Danson, he's all about docking. That's why they call him the docking Danson.
That's true, by the way. Right? So that conspiracy. At the end of the day, I know what I'm getting with three guys forcefully fucking me, strongly sucking, and dauntingly docking me for 16 hours straight. I don't know what I'm getting with an animal inside my rectum.
You would get sepsis from some kind of internal bleeding and die. So that's
No,
why
you cannot die.
I know you had to
That's part
add
of it.
fucking. You had to add magic to it. Well, I've got a fever. I got a low grade fever. You have to add magic to it just to make that work.
That's exactly right. There's magic.
So
added to it.
I ain't no. I'm like Varys. I fucking hate magic and all those who use it in the world.
I love Varys.
He's the best. He may be the most interesting character on the show.
I think he is. He's the character that I might latch on to the most. I feel like I am as a eunuch who had my dick thrown into a fiery pit to talk to a warlock or something.
Well, the reason he hates magic is because he knows he will never understand it, though, because he heard the voice, but he doesn't know what he heard. Was it a god? Was it a trick? You know, he'll never know, and that's what scares him, and that's what scares me about magic, which is why I don't want the magical hamster in my ass that can't kill me.
Yeah, how did you get to Varys from Lemming Wings?
Because he implored magic or used magic in order to make it so that you could not die from the gerbil being all the way in your ass, traveling from your asshole up out of your mouth.
Yeah, I guess since if you don't die, it might be okay. Oh, it goes all the way out my mouth. Oh,
Well, yeah, like Lemmy Wings.
yeah, I just don't know what that's gonna be like. I can't even like fantasize what that's gonna be like. So I might be taking the pounding.
I could see myself being in a scenario where it would be advantageous for me to be able to say, "Oh yeah, no, Tom Selleck and Ted Danson, I fucked both of them." Steve Guttenberg was also there. That might be like impress some people.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I guess you could always refer to them as the three men and you as a little lady or something like that. And that
No,
was
just
like your
specifically going off the fame of these people.
Sound logic.
sound logic. Absolutely.
A lot of
all
women,
right.
mostly boomers at this point, probably had severe crushes on Tom Selleck and Ted Danson. There's people who wouldn't be impressed by that.
I'm
That
impressed.
you took 16 hours of them fucking you. Cool Boy Nation, if there was a Would You Rather you would like us to discuss on a future podcast, please email us at thecoolboyspodcast@gmail.com. Well, cool boys, I don't think you can get any more topical of a Would You Rather than that. Time to move on to our Cool Boy show topic.
Report preliminary findings.
Not worried about her. We gotta keep him gagged.
Cool Boy Nation, pop your cocks and drop your tops.
It might be interesting and important for you to know.
It's time for our Cool Boy show topic.
Hey, I like that.
Spoilers.
No sweat.
So cool.
All right, so this week's Cool Boy show topic is going to be conspiracy theories. And so all we're really doing is, I guess to get to the idea of what happened is that 9/11 just happened, the anniversary of 9/11 for the, the 16th 9/11 since the 9/11 attacks. And, of course, that's a big deal for a lot of people. And so we thought, hey, let's just do conspiracy theories. So we're going to talk about conspiracy theories and mostly the retards that believe in them. So I figured, considering that this is based around 9/11, let's get into the 9/11 conspiracy theory. So the 9/11 conspiracy is pretty much, I think everybody knows it at this point, but in case you don't know what the 9/11 conspiracy is, I will read you real quickly the Wikipedia So the 9/11 conspiracy is that the multiple attacks made on the U.S. by Islamist terrorists using hijacked aircraft on September 11, 2001 have proved especially attractive to conspiracy theorists. Theories that may have include references to missile or hologram technology. By far the most popular theory is that the attacks were in fact controlled demolitions, a theory which has been rejected by the engineering profession and the 9/11 Commission. So that's pretty much what the 9/11 theory is, along with like also United 93 never really happened, or that it was shot down, and it's all kinds of different types of shit.
It might have been shot down. There's actually a lot of logical reasons why that would be a thing.
That's the only thing logically that would, I guess, quote unquote conspiracy that I would be willing to accept. I think the reason they probably didn't want to say that if that did actually happen is because the implication to the public that you could be shot down by your government. But
yeah,
I mean,
the idea that the government killed U.S. civilians, but it's something they'd want to be like, no, they were heroes. They went out on a high note, because if they had the recordings of them trying to take over the plane, they would release that and say that's what happened and it went down. Not that like, yeah, we may have shot it down. And,
yeah, I guess I never really thought about that, but that could totally be a real thing if, like, to save thousands. They didn't know how many, like, where that plane was heading. Just shoot down that plane, take out 130 people or whatever, and just call it a day.
The other one that I think also might actually be true is the theory that Tower 7 was, because it was damaged and because it was full of important like government documents and stuff that they wouldn't want people just being able to scavenge, that they just did a quick controlled demolition. Once the buildings were under control, it was just nothing but the last people.
Yeah, I don't see a demolition crew getting in there though in that amount of time and setting charges and blowing up the building.
What if it was always wired to go, just in case there's always a backup?
I mean, all they would have to do is get a device in there within it. We're talking about a 17-hour window.
Yeah, but I could also
Tower
see
7
if
went
it was,
down.
if it was literally holding viable information, top secret information all the time. Why wouldn't they always have charges ready to go in case for any type of situation? They wouldn't plan it. I feel like they would just be like, "Oh shit, at risk, pop it." Maybe that's something they did. The other one that's really interesting, I think, when it comes to 9/11, and I guess when I think of these as interesting, the way I look at them mostly is like Star Wars. Not to call on something that we already talked about. It's entertaining, it's fun, it's fantasy, and in that way, it's interesting. I don't find these at all very factual or truthful or anything like that. But and then I think the other one that's interesting is Pentagon. The Pentagon crash does seem kind of odd. Something seems a little amiss there, but I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know, and I'm not gonna go and be like, they fucking flew a fucking cruise missile into the Pentagon. Who fucking knows? 9/11. You guys have anything else about 9/11 that you thought was interesting conspiracy-wise, or ever hear from people that just bitch and complain about it? Because it's a real tragedy.
No, yeah.
No, there's Muslims.
And to be able to be like, this shit fucking, it was the government. It's just, that's like, it's a really horrible thing to say. And like, I think all these people do say a lot of this shit with like terrible lack of facts.
Yeah, if it's the government, there's just too many people to keep a secret. People can't even keep a secret that they're fucking cheated on their wives.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted like hundreds or thousands of men from our government to like hold this a secret, it would get out by now. We lived in the digital age when this happened. Like, you can't cover it up like you could maybe back in the JFK age, if that is a conspiracy. It would get out at this point.
Well, Noli, that's a good point about JFK. But before we move on to JFK, everybody. So, what do you guys feel like? Real quickly, individually about the 9/11? True or false? I think it's false.
There are mild like things about United 93 that may be true, but the idea that the entire thing was either orchestrated by the government or the government knew it was going to happen and did nothing about it. No, I do not believe that. It was pissed off Muslims, mostly from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, the implication, I think, is that it's a lot like Pearl Harbor, where the government, quote unquote, knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen, the attack on Pearl Harbor from the Japanese, and they let it happen because it would spur us into war. I think that was the idea that people think this happened too, that they may have known and then let it happen so it would take us into war with Middle East.
That's not confirmed about Pearl Harbor though, right? That's another conspiracy theory.
I don't know though.
I've never heard
know.
that.
Oh, you've never heard that? Yeah, no.
No.
There's belief that that's the possibility. I mean, but that's not just the only time that's ever happened where a nation or a government has essentially allowed something to occur.
I don't know, man.
Didn't prevent something so they could go to a war skirmish.
I feel like America loves to be number one. I don't feel like we'd let that kind of shit happen. I think we have like just a fucking huge raging heart on
I
that
think
we have
you're
to
right.
show off to everybody that was like, I'm not going to let you fucking just get a cheap shot in so I can do whatever. We're not going to let anything happen.
I think you're very right, but I do think there is one American conspiracy that is very interesting and does call into question a lot of facts about it, and I think the JFK one is quite peculiar.
I think you're right about that one.
It does seem like there were some advantageous situations around him being assassinated, and you kind of saw some people benefit from that.
I could definitely see this one as some of the theories, at least, being somewhat true. Because this one's shady as fuck, for sure.
Yeah.
Really? Fuck, you don't think so?
Phil doesn't think so.
I think it was a lone gunman. I think it was more or less just one individual crazy person had a shot, and we didn't have that kind of security back then. And there was a lot of people
what about the fucking male models on the grassy knoll?
What?
Yeah, those male models, absolutely.
I think that people were able to benefit from it almost immediately as soon as it happened, and because of that, you can then apply that in hindsight to being like, obviously, they did it because they knew. No, they just knew what to do if he was out of the picture because they wanted him out of the picture and didn't have any way of knowing that he would suddenly be shot by a fucking random crazy guy.
So just to be clear for Cool Boy Nation, in case you don't know kind of a little bit about the JFK assassination conspiracy theories, there's so many of them. But really what it is it's that there was the accusations that there was involvement from the CIA or the mafia or from LBJ or the Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Castro or even the KGB. And I think the KGB is where you tie in a little bit of Lee Harvey Oswald. But there was this belief that, by obviously assassinating JFK, you could, further push the United States into war with Vietnam. You could also, limit a lot of the shit that JFK was kind of going to apparently put a stop to within the government. He quote unquote warned, of the government before he died as well. So I think a lot of people may have saw some of that and drew some conclusions. I think what does make it kind of shady is that there isn't this very clear answer. We've gone past 50 years, and even with the Freedom of Information Act, it still won't be released. They can't release it, quote unquote, even after 50 years. And that's pretty shady because we have a law in our country that allows after 50 years for all the information on a certain whatever event, person, whatever, you can have all that information unless, I guess, apparently it still is, viable to the current national security. And that's what they claim, if I'm not mistaken, was that the assassination of JFK, the information behind that is still imperative to our national security and therefore cannot be released. And it is interesting that beyond that, you also have then, of course, Robert F. Kennedy being assassinated.
Which, people believe LBJ was responsible for through CIA connections to just remove a political opponent.
I still don't believe it was Lee Harvey Oswald just because didn't he fail? I think I read it or seen that he failed his marksmanship courses in the military.
I don't recall. I'm not really super knowledgeable on all the facts around this. I've actually been there in Dallas where it happened.
It's a fucking incredible
I've been there
shot.
several times.
Yeah, me too, myself as well, several times.
And the magic bullet, come on.
It's a pretty
It was Magneto.
Shot. It was Magneto.
It was Magneto, yeah.
He was trying to save him because
He was one of us.
JFK was a mutant.
JFK was a mutant.
Oh, Jay.
His mutant ability was getting pussy.
JJ.
That one's so shady that I could, if you told me, like you said, it's still top secret. That something happened there that they don't want us to know about, for sure.
JJ. So Nolan, you think that JFK, that there's something interesting there. So you're not saying true or false, but you're going to say maybe true.
I'm going to say maybe true.
I want to go maybe true too. And then Felk, what do you think about JFK?
I think not true. I think it was. I think it just was Oswald.
And then he was shot 2 days later. And the way he was denying it, that's not a man that's proud to kill somebody. That one's just shady.
He seemed like he was silenced, and then on top of that, Jack Ruby, who silenced Oswald, he ends up then just dying in prison from cancer.
From mysterious cancer.
Mysterious cancer. That's the one that always gets you. All right, and then, well, obviously, JFK leads us perfectly into our next conspiracy: chemtrails. Yeah, so the chemtrail theory is that essentially that the water condensation trails, the contrails, in the fucking air from all the planes that fly every day over the United States of America. These are apparently aircraft that are secretly dispersing chemical or biological agents, to make essentially Americans more docile and all that shit, and to spread diabetes or whatever the fuck. It's just, give me a break.
Which is funny because, I mean, they're not conspiracy, but like there are just overt like planes that like crop dusters and stuff that spray pesticides and all kinds of things all over actual fields of crops and stuff. And I'm sure that seeps over occasionally to residential areas and other places. Chemtrails is people thinking commercial airliners that you see flying over cities and stuff, that contrails are them spraying stuff, because contrails are not something that's real. That planes don't just create little condensation streams, which we see all over the place. That's really chemicals that, to quote Alex Jones, turn frogs gay.
The gay bomb. What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
One of the things that was being sprayed was to turn, see if they can turn frogs gay so that they could eliminate specific species in frogs as a test, so that they could spray that over cities and turn like all the white people in a city gay. So that
I want that. Spray it over me, baby.
So that they can eliminate like a race or a specific ethnicity by turning them all gay within several generations.
It's like, can you imagine, like, fucking like Indians way back in the day when the Pilgrims showed up to like Plymouth Rock, and fucking Squantos out there on fucking Plymouth Rock, and he sees like the wake created by these like giant fucking ships.
The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
I'll do you in the bottom while you're drinking sangria.
Chemtrails. like that's how I think of these people who believe in this theory. They are the retards of our country, looking straight up at the thing going, what is that? What is that? You telling me I ain't breathing that? It's air. It's air. I'm breathing air. You telling me that I'm not going to breathe that? That's government chemicals. They're trying to make me docile. That's why my dick is all flaccid, honey. That's why I can't get my dick hard enough every night to fuck you. It's because the government is giving me the chemtrails and they're making me so docile.
Every time I hear somebody make fun of those who believe in government conspiracies or the like, they always seem to think it's a good idea to do a southern accent, as though people from the south are stupid and people from the north or the coasts are smart. I have heard every bit of stupid theories about things either the government does or things like there would be no cancer if it wasn't for corporations. Actual statement a Californian once said to me this week.
I went to Santa Cruz, Felk, so I heard other types of conspiracy voices, and I will provide you with another conspiracy voice for the next conspiracy.
Okay, good.
But let's just all agree that Ballard's portrayal of a chemtrail cider was correct.
Yeah. Well, because there is no fucking person from Texas who would believe in the next one. Sacrilege.
So guys, as we're talking about chemtrails, why don't we just go a little bit further up and let's go to the moon landing. Now, I'm going to start off my response with the moon landing. False. This is fucking a false conspiracy. This is bullshit. Now, I have one thing I got to say about my understanding of the moon landing. When I went to Houston, I was lucky enough to spend some time with an old fucking dude who used to work at NASA. He ended up getting cut from NASA when Obama administration ended up cutting a lot of the jobs at NASA. I spoke to him. He essentially was the manager of the giant pool that's in NASA in Houston, where the astronauts, prepare themselves for zero gravity, right? So I asked him, how does he feel specifically about people who disbelieve in the moon landing? and it fucking makes his blood boil.
Oh, yeah.
It makes him so upset. And I can't imagine now, Felk, you made a reference earlier before we went into this topic about how anybody in Texas would find this to be sacrilege to even discuss at all the moon landing as being like something that was false, did not actually happen.
Yeah.
And when we say false, by the way, what I'm referring to is the conspiracy, I believe, is false. I do not believe the conspiracy. I believe we landed on the fucking moon, and I am proud to say that as an American, we put a fucking man on the moon.
Yeah, well, specifically as a Texan, I can say we put a man on the moon. And by we, let's face facts. So one of the things people bitch about when they are talking about the moon landing conspiracies is they're like, oh, you guys, they were secret. There was all these secrets on NASA. They were covering up stuff. Like, did you know that a lot of the NASA scientists, early NASA scientists, were former Nazi scientists that they just brought them over and started? Yeah,
Operation Paperclip.
They did. That
Operation Paperclip.
And when people talk about like, why were they hiding shit? Why were they keeping things secret? Because they were keeping things secret because they were bringing over fucking Nazi scientists, because the Nazis made a lot more advancements in rocket technology than the U.S. did during the time. So the best scientists
V2
on
rocket.
the V2 rocket. So they just brought them over. And yes, they tried to kind of keep that secret because they didn't really want to acknowledge the fact that a lot of their technology was designed by people who, you know, were former Nazis. But they were just scientists who were working on fucking rockets. They weren't front lines. They weren't fucking Holocaust Nazis. They were scientists who worked in Germany and had no choice but to continue their work. I mean, I'm sure force was part of it. And they became American citizens. They were granted amnesty to work for the government, and they did work, you know, financed by the U.S. government. And I feel like that is in itself the whole reason why there's secrecy surrounding that stuff, and it does not negate the accomplishments that both America and the human race did in going to the moon. So,
yeah, I think one of the Nazi scientists was a pretty brutal actual Nazi,
well, you know,
and actually hung Jews out in front of his factory.
Nobody's perfect, right? You know, I mean,
but other than maybe him, sure, yeah, maybe the rest were just scientists working on rocket fuel. I think the other major conspiracy issue that does date around the moon landing is if you do watch the press conference with the three astronauts after they did land, and they had a press conference meeting with international press teams and whatnot. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, they did seem to be very awkward. It is known that Neil Armstrong is an awkward person in general, and so that kind of got written off. Buzz Aldrin is not known for being awkward, so that kind of stuff as well was a little weird to people. There was inconsistencies in the facts at the time of the press conference. Now that was a big deal for a lot of people, because out of the three astronauts, only two actually landed on the moon, and that was, of course, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Now, Michael Collins is quoted as saying something along the lines of, like, you know, when we landed and or when we looked up from the surface of the moon, you know, and saw the stars. And as soon as he says something like that, he gets a real quick glare during the press conference. You can go find this. He gets a real quick glare from like Neil and Buzz, where they're just like, whoa, dude, what the fuck did you just say? Because there's no way Michael Collins could have had that fact, nor could he have been present at the surface of the moon to said what the stars looked like from the surface of the moon. But this is how I explain it to myself, at least. They just fucking got back from space. Like, what the fuck? And they just landed on a fucking foreign fucking celestial body and then walked on it, 2 out of 3. And then they all got back and shared stories, and Michael Collins probably shared the experience with them and like spoke a little out of turn, just like I have done probably multiple times on this podcast alone.
Yeah, he just wanted to get his voice in there. He knew he wasn't like one of the guys who walked on the moon. When you look at the evidence that people have for like why it clearly didn't happen, like you're starting with the conspiracy first. Like, it didn't happen, and I'm going to pick apart everything I can to find it. Like, you know, there's there's a mirror on the moon that we put there that you can see with even a telescope, like a very high powered telescope you can buy on like Amazon, like as a consumer. And like it's very, there's now that doesn't prove that we were there on Apollo 11,
right.
but it was added, I think, on something else, but still.
That's also the other part of the conspiracy, is that not necessarily that we never actually made it to the moon, but we didn't go to the moon at Apollo 11. Yeah. It happened at another time in a Black Op type mission.
Yeah,
it's all Transformers, right?
It is. You're right. It's all Transformers. That's the reason Michael Collins can't speak on it, because they were all lying because of what they saw on the moon. They saw, what was it, Sentient Prime or some shit?
Apollo 11 is on the far side of the moon.
Neil, you were dark on the rock.
You brought up the press conference and the way they acted. I thought the conspiracy was also just on like how there was no shadows or something in their footage.
No, the shadows are inconsistent, but that makes sense when you do look at it from a one source of light perspective at an angle, and then it does apply from a force perspective camera angle as well. It does make sense. The shadows do make sense. The other thing they argue, Noli, actually about the photos was you can't see stars in the photos, and that makes sense too, because the actual light gray moon dust, soil, whatever the fuck it's called, is reflecting light, the sunlight.
It's like
and
street lamps like Los Angeles.
Exactly, the same fucking thing. Right. It's just noise pollution in the photo. Now, granted, when you're live there, your eyes can handle light differently, but in a photo, you have overexposure.
Sure. Isn't the other conspiracy that Stanley Kubrick actually filmed?
Yes, and that conspiracy also ties into The Shining, and apparently Kubrick hints throughout the movie The Shining in multiple ways, in imagery and in room numbers and in small bits of dialogue, that he actually filmed the moon landing. Now, if Kubrick did actually hint to shit, and there, of course, now you have to imagine that this is not just Kubrick knowing that he made it, but then also government officials realizing that are like top secret, right? Zebra badge, whatever the fuck, right? That are like also like looking at this going, Kubrick's giving away shit. Like they're just going to go off him. They're not going to just let that guy just fucking go around making movies that like hint to, this fucking thing. Like it's so stupid.
Have you ever seen the video of Buzz Aldrin punching the guy who's calling him a liar?
Said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself. Away from me. You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
What a punch.
The guy's name is Bart Sibrel. It was in 2002. And he ambushed outside of Beverly Hills Hotel. He ambushed Buzz Aldrin. Started calling him a coward, a liar, and a thief. Called him, you lied, and then Buzz Aldrin just punched him.
And a thief.
I love that, Buzz. Way to go, Buzz.
Because that's the thing, Buzz, like those guys weren't spokesmen, they weren't public speakers, and they weren't scientists. They were pilots. They were Air Force guys who like they knew that they could put into a cramped little cockpit and have them be there for 48 hours and then do basic tasks and come back. Like that was their job, and they did it, and easily could have died.
I love in that situation though they actually took pilots to go to the moon as opposed to taking like oil drillers to go to an asteroid.
The United States government has just asked us to save the world.
You've heard the clip from the commentary for Armageddon where Ben Affleck,
of course I have.
Yeah. Ben Affleck is so great. He's bashing Michael Bay's movie.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck what he was going to say in that commentary. He just got off a really shitty meeting at like whatever the fuck, Warner Brothers, Paramount, whatever it was.
That commentary made me really respect Ben Affleck. I was like, this guy.
He's clearly drunk in that commentary though.
Yeah.
He's a history of alcoholism.
I love it. Well, speaking of Ben Affleck, that leads into our next conspiracy: aliens and the Dulce base. Now, I just want to tie in the Dulce base here because
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's kind of interesting from a very, science fiction perspective. What do you guys feel about this alien conspiracy? Like, do you think that there are aliens, or do you think it's like, that you believe it? I guess I believe that there is likely to be life out in the universe besides us.
Yeah,
whether it's like parameciums or it's squid-like creatures on Europa, or if it's like fucking Avatar-like creatures on fucking, Avatar planet. but I just don't know they're coming here. And if they are coming here, I think South Park nailed it. I think we're a reality TV show.
No, I think that there are absolutely life on other planets. I don't think any life has ever visited Earth, unless you're talking about like if microbes on a meteor landed on Earth. Technically, that would be aliens visiting Earth. But I mean, you know, I'm talking about intelligent life traveling and visiting and possibly crashing here. No, I don't.
Yeah, I believe that there's aliens somewhere, but they haven't come here yet.
Yep. Okay. Well,
and never will when you consider the Gulf of Space.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like that's
we're gonna fucking find that wormhole by Saturn, and we will find this shit.
If you're talking about Interstellar, no aliens.
Hey, Merv.
It was future humans.
Don't let me leave, Merv.
Future humans, aliens.
I don't think that's actually made very clear in the movie.
It isn't, but that is the explanation. There's no aliens. It's just future humans.
Don't let me leave, Merv.
Well, okay, so I mean, for Cool Boy Nation's sake,
I thought it was
aliens are
beings.
coming from the conspiracy that, you know, in Area 51 in the 1950s, you know, there was a crash in Roswell, New Mexico, and, you know, it was a weather balloon, or it wasn't weather balloon, or it was swamp gas, or it wasn't swamp gas, whatever the fuck. It started in Roswell, or it started near Roswell, and then it got taken to Roswell, and then it got like taken somewhere else, and then I think eventually like it made its way to some like Air Force Base in Philadelphia and all this other shit.
Indiana Jones was there.
Yeah. Totally. All Roswell is something military exercise happening in a small town, and then blowing it out of proportion to get some, you know, notoriety.
Yeah, that's all that really is, and it was poor, you know, journalism that got taken out of control.
Oh yeah.
Because it did start off the first newspaper, if I'm not mistaken, was something to the effect of like, aliens fucking landed in Roswell, holy shit balls, you know, and then like the next morning it was like it was swamp gas.
So
you know,
many of
that's
these
about it.
All come down to a single fucking reporter. Like, if I say it's aliens, holy shit, everyone will be buying that issue. Same with the Battle of Los Angeles. That all comes down to one reporter.
Clickbait. It was just old school clickbait. That's all it was.
Same with the Battle of Los Angeles. That was one reporter who stirred up, shit, was this the Japanese or was it aliens? I was like, no, it was just it was the military doing a little target practice exercise.
On February 25th, 1942, 100,000 people witnessed something in the skies above Los Angeles. Over 1,400 anti-aircraft rounds were fired by the U.S. military, to no effect. This actual encounter was only the beginning.
Are we talking about the Aaron Eckhart movie?
No.
No.
What are we talking about?
The original. So
there was a night in the it was the 50s or the late 40s that there was like all of a sudden like lights in the sky of L.A.
We cannot lose Los Angeles.
Anyways, yeah, 42. I think, and then, you know, aliens eventually, the idea is that, you know, I think it was Eisenhower made a deal with the aliens to work with us so they would stop like
that was the gray ones,
doing the abductions. And it's not, there's grays and there's tall grays and there's short grays and there's reptilians and then there's these Andromedans, which are like blue energy. And then there's these ones called like Pleiadians that are like from Venus, and that's like somebody named like Thor or some shit like that. And he's like, Valiant Thor.
Those are interdimensional.
He's like purple skinned. And whatever. They're all fucking the same conspiracy. So the Dulce base, if I'm not mistaken, is in Colorado, and it's a real Air Force base. And that's about all this is, if I'm not mistaken. It's just that's it. But the belief is that there's a lot more below Dulce, and that's where there's this like huge underground like city. Like a huge underground like military base, right? Or like Men in Black. Like that's really what it is to be.
Like
it's Men in Black.
Airport.
Well, Denver Airport is tied into Dulce base, by the way, so that is a direct connection to the two. Yeah. Denver Airport is just another. Denver Airport is, if I'm not mistaken, is another entrance into Dulce. Anyway, so Dulce is really truly the Men in Black, really a whole building, right? It's all these aliens living together, humans and greys and reptilians and Andromedans or whatever the fuck, and they all have their own barracks and their own headquarter areas where they can talk and be on their own. But then they have community zones where they sit together and they eat and they have meetings and they just talk but there's rules you don't look certain ones in the eye because it fucking triggers their animalistic style or their animalistic attack nature. So the reptilians are apparently very attacky and are very easy to fucking get into a human's face or another alien's face.
Where's this from? Who started this?
Oh, dude, this is a whole bunch of fucking random fucks just combining all their wonderful imaginations together to make this story. And anyway, so one of the beliefs is that at the Dulce base is that there is a cafeteria where all the aliens eat together, including the humans, except the reptilians. The reptilians don't eat with everybody because apparently they're embarrassed by the way they eat is so violent. And then some people think that that's a conspiracy within Dulce base because what they're eating is they're eating humans, right? And that's why they don't want to be seen eating their lunches with everybody else. Anyways, so that's what Dulce is. It's this whole ground network where all the aliens are working together with mankind to essentially control the planet.
Well, any underground network named after the Spanish word for sweet is okay in my book. I believe it.
Dulce de leche.
Dulce de leche. Confirmed. Real.
Confirmed. So yeah, this one is for sure. Nolan, I'm going with true. How about you?
True for sure. True for sure.
Felk, true.
Well, there might be an underground base there. Probably does not hold aliens.
So yeah. Well, that leads us perfectly into our next conspiracy, Bohemian Grove.
It's really not a conspiracy. It's no one hides its existence or the fact that they've gone there.
Yeah, because the conspiracy is it hidden or do they have a guest list that we have access to? The conspiracy is what happens when the cameras are shut off and the lights go down. So there is a belief that there's fucking child molestation or alien shit going on or whatever the fuck, or MK Ultra type stuff going on, or some type of a combination of the three. There is a belief that there's some shady shit that goes down at Bohemian Grove after the lights go down.
I mean, all that shit does happen, but probably not the alien stuff, but all that shit does happen in actual secret conspiracies. But probably the least, in the Vatican or deals are made all over buildings in Washington. But Bohemian Grove is all about it's for very powerful people to meet and kind of socialize. No business is supposed to be done there. And that's the whole story. I think it's the one place where the least amount of shady shit has happened. I think it's
yeah.
I think more shady shit has happened in random hotel rooms in DC, including Watergate.
So is this the Eyes Wide Shut?
No, Bohemian. No, that's some random orgy. Bohemian Grove. The closest thing you would see that in pop culture would have been this last season of House of Cards. They did
they called it Elysian Fields.
Right.
No, there's also no women at Bohemian Grove except staff and servers and stuff. So no orgies are going on there.
Or gay orgies only. That's the other major conspiracy. It's just all gay orgies. But the conspiracies around Bohemian Grove really of all the MK Ultra type child type shit and the fucking gay orgies and stuff.
Gay orgies and stuff.
Gay orgies and stuff.
Gay orgies and stuff.
And the alien connections. I don't believe that shit. I just think it's supposed to be a wonderful camp experience for them. All right, well, guys, that's enough of those serious government-like conspiracies. Let's move on to some fun conspiracies.
I'm going to take some drugs.
Let's start off with the best fun conspiracy, New Coke. Felk, do you know about the New Coke conspiracy?
The New Coke conspiracy is the idea that New Coke was only invented in order to make people want the old Coke back more because they could no longer have it. And the guy the CEO or whatever in charge of Coke, who approved and was in charge of New Coke, has said, "No, I wasn't that smart. I was stupid."
The quote is, "The truth is, we're not that dumb and we're not that smart."
What are we talking about?
I think I just succinctly explained it.
Yeah. I think he did. It was very clear.
I'm busy jacking off, guys.
I see. Nolan is just going to town, folks. He has got his dick out in his hand, and he is just fist gripping that shit. Let's move on to our next conspiracy. Dinosaurs never existed. All right. So they were put there by God, what, like 10,000 years ago, and they're test our morals. Give me a break. False.
Is that what it is? That's the rumor?
Well, no, even creationists believe that there were dinosaurs, that they just all died out like 10,000 years ago during the flood.
Yeah,
but they think the fossils are fake or something.
They're dragons.
They're supposed. I mean, there's that joke in the rest of development, like dinosaur bones are just something the Jews put there to test our devotion to God. But no, I think dinosaurs were real.
Yeah, so I think the conspiracy is false, Nolan.
I think it's pretty false. Pretty false. Oh, maybe slightly true.
Felk, I don't think you were very clear in what you believe, so just false conspiracy or true conspiracy?
I believe that dinosaurs are real, and that some evolved into birds.
Well, moving on and going on a completely separate but equally retarded conspiracy. Flat Earth. I can't even give this one the time to discuss it. This is the most false fucking conspiracy. It just gives retards a place to breed their retards. So false Earth, flat Earth is false.
Yeah, mostly believed by rappers and basketball stars such as basketball star who believes in flat Earth. And to be fair, flat earthers don't call themselves flat earthers. They refer to the conspiracy as globe Earth, as in ain't no globe Earth.
Someone just put these fuckers in a rocket, send them up above the atmosphere, take a look, and then blow it up.
Okay, that would be murder. At that point, why bother? Why not just shoot them in the head? It's more and save the taxpayer.
I find it to be destructive when it's coming from celebrities with Instagram followers in the way that it's just like you're influencing people who are just truly too dumb to know any better, because that's why they're on Instagram following you in the first place.
Yeah.
And these are people who should not be taught stupidity and ignorance and then and celebrated it.
Let's put it this way. They're not coming from thinking celebrities. I mean, in order to write a movie, I guess the
Neil deGrasse.
Not just Neil deGrasse. I mean, even actors who have to at least be able to think. Yeah, Brian Cox,
the British scientist, not the actor.
Oh,
sorry,
Cox.
So wait, say it again.
Cox.
Say it again.
You like hearing me say Cox?
Say it one more time.
Cox.
Say wet Cox.
No one's not
one more
gay.
time.
That's the conspiracy theory we're projecting here. He just likes hearing Cox said over and over again. Cox, 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 Cox.
Wet Cox.
Cox, 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 Cox.
Wet Cox. Gay orgies and stuff. All right, I'm done with flat earthers. I don't really want to talk about them.
I just have now this short film in my head in which Nolan secretly goes to a gay bar and he walks in and just goes to the burliest gay man. He goes, "I'm not gay, but I just want you to lean in and whisper in my ear, Cox." And then he leaves into the sunset, smiling. He's like, I got all I needed.
I think it happened.
I just needed to hear that word. It's an audio. It's almost ASMR. Cox. Cox. Cox.
Yeah.
All right. And then another fun conspiracy, besides is Nolan gay, is Nick Cage, Jay-Z, Keanu Reeves. What the fuck do these guys have in common? Well, Felk, what do they have in common?
They have faces that are kind of generalized enough that old people who are dead occasionally get mistaken for them.
Felk, you just took the magic right out of that one.
I could see I could see Jay-Z and I could see Keanu Reeves, but Nick Cage's face is so
I don't know about that.
Wait, whoa. The conspiracy is not their faces. So everyone listening to this knows the conspiracy is that these guys are time travelers or vampires, and that is why there are paintings of them and photos of them throughout time of people that look a lot like them. Now, moving on about that, Noli, please go ahead with your point.
My point was that Nicolas Cage's face is so indistinguishable. It's so different that there should be nobody that has his face, but yet there is.
I've never seen those photos though.
Google it. Anyone can Google Keanu Reeves from the 1800s. Jay-Z from the 1800s.
There's not going to be a photograph of him from 1820.
Jay-Z's was actually from like the 1900s.
Yeah, Jay-Z's was a photo.
Like
Nick Cage was a painting, and then Keanu Reeves was two separate paintings.
Nick Cage is a photo.
Basically, I'm seeing dozens and dozens of celebrities across time.
So just be cool, Clear Boy Nation. So we have Nick Cage dating back to. I just had it.
Are you aware that you said "Let's be cool, Clear Boy Nation"?
I did not. All right, so Cool Boy Nation, just to be clear about these actors and their time travelness, Nick Cage dates back to 1870 based on this photo. John Travolta is even involved here, dating back to a photo that looks exactly like John Travolta in 1860. Keanu Reeves has paintings of him in 1875 and in 1530. And to top this all off, you have a photo of Jay-Z from 1939. So these guys are time travelers, or are they vampires?
John Travolta is the most accurate, I think. That looks like fucking John Travolta.
It does. So what do you guys think? Vampires or time travelers?
Similar looking faces.
No, it isn't that. It can't be. It can't possibly be that.
I don't really wish that there were time travelers. I feel like that would be scary and add. I mean, with North Korea, do we really need more uncertainty in life? And that's all that the idea that time travel has been occurring across, hundreds of years, however far these photos date back. I find that unsettling and uncomfortable, so I don't want it to be true. And I certainly logically don't think it's true. If time travel is possible, then no time traveler even tried, or at least was successful in preventing 9/11 or the Holocaust.
Well, that's because there's time cops.
In the year 2004, time travel is a reality and a crime. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I think you plan too far ahead.
Yeah, you can't fuck with shit. All right, well then, moving on from, of course, these time travelers / immortal, whatever, vampires. The most important fun conspiracy, is Tom Cruise gay? Allegedly.
Yeah, he is.
I think Tom Cruise is so asexual. He's on a different plane.
Okay, that's actually a theory, is that he's asexual.
I don't think he knows how to function as a sexual person.
Here's the thing, is that the asexual theory has a lot of credence to it, because there's definitely a lot of evidence that every major relationship he's been in, from Nicole Kidman to Katie Holmes to Penelope Cruz, were organized by the Church of Scientology for the specific meddling from David Miscavige, where the founder, like the guy's currently in charge, and has been a big proponent of since the 70s of you got to have this stable, cool. You're in a relationship and you're happy. That's a big part of being a leading man, being a Hollywood man. You can't be gay. If you're gay, you got to hide it. You got to have that public persona. And the thing is, with the two, so the two biggest one of their two biggest Scientologist stars are John Travolta and Tom Cruise, and they both have had relationships that were set up by the Church of Scientology. Like Kelly Preston was basically assigned him. That's the theory. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot more evidence that John Travolta is gay, like the fact that there's a lot of photos of him kissing men. And he's been with Kelly Preston for 20 something years, 30 years. They're stable. They know exactly what they're fucking doing and have that locked up. But Tom lost Nicole Kidman. She left him, because she didn't want to be part of that shit anymore, and maybe didn't want to raise her kids in Scientology. And as a result, they had to, assign him a new fucking wife. There aren't photos of Tom kissing other men. There aren't people who will randomly, just random gay dudes who talk about I fucked a dude who just fucked John Travolta. He fucks guys all the time. You never hear that about Tom Cruise. So he's definitely faking being heterosexual, but that's, I think, almost incontrovertible at this point. But is he actually gay? He might just be asexual. He might just not have they are 0.03% of the population. It would make sense that there would be celebrities who are asexual.
Yeah. I mean, even going back to his earliest roles, Booger from Nerds, who starred with him in a Risky Business, he just says even then he was just awkward with people. He's a very awkward man, but he never got the gay vibe from him. So I'm going to go with asexual.
Yeah, that asexual. I really never thought of that. But that totally seems like it hits right on the money.
He cares about acting and he cares about doing the work, and he does not care about relationships with human beings.
Nope.
Everyone says it's a very artificial relationship that you have with him, that he's very in tune to knowing who your dad is or where you're from. and he brings those up often. Like it's like a fucking hits the bullet points on you and he moves on.
Well, that doesn't mean that's not necessarily correlated to being asexual, but
it correlates to the fact that he's just a weird human being that does not care about sex. He just has like,
I mean, like for a non-asexual, like seems like pretty much everything is framed for sex. When I think about like why I would want to be a famous movie star, it would be to get the hot ladies, or at least marry a hot lady, even if it's not just like ruling out any sense of monogamy. But if you're not interested in sex at all, why do you want to be super famous? Why do you want to be a rock star? Why do you want to be a movie star? What's the drive? And it for him might just be like a psychological game,
Mm-hmm. It is. I think so. I don't think he's gay. I think he's just a weird man like Michael Jackson.
So, but
both probably molest boys.
I definitely think his marriage to Nicole Kidman was largely faked or largely set up by the Church of Scientology. Now that brings us to Nicole Kidman, and
this is of course one that allegedly was started by Suri Cruise, and this was that Nicole Kidman has a huge clitoris. The size of most dongs, and this is a major conspiracy.
If you have a clit that's as big as a dong, you are technically qualified as intersex.
You said it.
That's what Jamie Lee Curtis had, and they filed it down.
Violent image, Jesus Christ!
Poor woman.
What a man!
Poor man. It was a baby. They do it when you're a fucking baby.
Well, they did not do this in Australia because they're a bunch of criminals. So, and we apologize, of course, to our Australian Cool Boy listeners.
Good point.
But you're a bunch of criminals. And Nicole Kidman has an incredibly large clit. So, Suri Cruise, she's a beast of a reporter, and she has good tactics, I guess, getting her journalistic integrity out there. Allegedly.
Again, Nicole Kidman is simply the ex-wife of Suri Cruise's possible father, although she might just be adopted or a test tube baby. I don't know why Suri Cruise would even have access to this information, let alone actively spread that information.
Suri Cruise does what Suri Cruise wants to do.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much fact.
I've heard it a lot. A lot of people are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
definitely.
I think it's all Australian women have large clits, which isn't true. Angela White's is perfect.
Margot Robbie has like probably the tiniest little fucking clit. I feel like
you can't even see it. Like, and that's I've seen the Blu-ray of it, paused it.
Wolf of Wall Street, by the way, Cool Boy Nation.
He's
talking about Wolf of Wall Street. And
no, I'm talking about the special extended cut of Suicide Squad,
where she fucking spread eagle.
So you're telling me you took the Blu-ray. And you freezed it when she went spread eagle, and you zoomed in to see if you could find a clitoris.
No, I didn't zoom in. I just walked really close to my TV.
So you don't think though even the special effects department could like just shadow that area because maybe
I think if anything they probably try to add clitoris back in, knowing that she was Australian, and it's just still not enough.
Well, I'm gonna guarantee you the gay orgy scene. They enhanced.
Oh, they for sure did. I know for a fact Jared Leto's dick is not as large as Will Smith's, and they had it at equal height. Suicide Squad.
What movie are we talking about here?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Suicide Squad.
No, we're talking about the movie where you see Margot Robbie's large
and Diablo. And Diablo has that really tiny penis, and then he yells at everybody that he's family before he like explodes his dick all over everyone.
Well, we confirmed this already. Mexicans have a smaller dick.
Oh yeah, and black people have 10-inch dicks on average.
Yeah, outhouse.com.
10 and a half. That's it. 10 and a half. I don't want to get my facts wrong. This is the conspiracy episode.
Yeah. So it went black people, white people, then Mexicans.
Yeah, but Nolan, you're failing to remember the lowest on that list was Native Americans.
We called them wind talkers.
Oh, we called them wind talkers? They should have been called wind dockers. We lost an opportunity on that one.
Nicole Kidman's large clit is obviously real, but Lord have mercy, so many conspiracies to wet my lips on. But do you know what, fellas? We never talked about the most important conspiracy ever. Conspiracy so deviant and dastardly that to even mention it results in immediate apparent suicide. I am, of course, talking about the conspiracy theory that winning a bottle challenge guarantees the most retarded, geyser-inducing rimming of your life. And now it's time for Talking Bodies.
Was that English? What just happened?
That's English. He just read it retardedly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have mono?
All systems ready. 3,
Talking bodies. Yeah. Talking bodies.
Oh, yeah.
As always, Talking Bodies has us discussing the wonderful world of mega hotties and super babes. I'm fucking Jordan with the flu playing in that game where you had the flu.
Oh, a sports reference.
Nolan got my sports reference. He was a bull.
And Cool Boy Nation, to enhance your body and dong experience, strap on that hard drive, whip out that keyboard, and let's go Googling for some sweet bodies and some even sweeter dongs.
All right, gentlemen. Does anyone have a mega hottie with a body or a not well-known super babe to discuss? I do.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going right into mine. I have Brycey, a.k.a. Miss B.
She's been around for a while.
She is, but she's trending right now, Felk.
I think because she's starting to masturbate a little bit more. She used to just be a nude model.
No, she fucks now, Felk.
She's doing hardcore now?
Felk.
Then that's
she's
why she's trending.
Because
that
she does hardcore, Felk.
Well,
Brycey, everyone.
Brycey is spelled
okay.
Bryci.
I didn't know she was fucking now. She always, to me, had her tits are very fake
but
looking to me.
Perfect.
They are perfect, but her tits remind me of like where it's like the tit looks like it's bursting, and that just means she was a small cup size. But that's the type of tits that trannies always have, because like they obviously start with the smallest tit size possible, none. And
how
it's
dare
just like
you?
a ball.
How dare you bring up trannies while I'm talking about Brycey right now?
Dude, Brycey looks as much. If you just threw a cock on that, she'd look as much like a tranny as Bailey J.
Brycey's gorgeous. That is a woman.
Her tits remind me of Bailey J's.
All right, well,
she is a woman made by science. I like the next one a lot more.
Speaking then, Felk, of real tits, then let's go with this. Now, this is not a super babe that's not well known. This is a mega hottie with a body. Everybody knows her, and if you don't know her, she's been around for a while. Her name is Kate Owen, aka Katie Life. She has real tits, and she is a gorgeous specimen of a fine woman.
I would maybe say the best natural tits I've ever seen.
I don't know. Amy Reed had some pretty amazing natural tits.
I'm gonna throw in one I've recently gotten back to. That's J Rose. I like pale British girls. She has such fucking incredible tits.
You do not gloss over Katie like that.
No, she has great tits.
So Katie Life is spelled Kateelife, Cool Boy Nation. And mainly just go ahead and just look up GIFs of her on Google Images, because that is your best source of image for her. Well, yeah, so Cool Boy Nation, go ahead and grease it to Brycey, and then go ahead and then wax it to Katie. But otherwise, let's...
Does Katie Life do hardcore?
She has done some, if you've been able to watch at the right times. And I think there are some places where you can find some of those cam streams that were recorded, and I think some of them might be on Pornhub or X videos. So anyways, yeah, so let's move on to our top 3 bods. Now, everybody, this is our time to pick our top 3 bods from a specific show, movie, franchise, or era. And this week's segment is called Hotties from Mel Gibson's hit film
Conspiracy Theory.
So, of course, those are the hotties that we all know and love, like Julia Roberts, Christine Toy Johnson, Claudia Stedlin, and Saxon Trainer. Guys, who do you like?
The Saxon Trainer.
Saxon Trainer's pretty hot, but I don't know about you, but I'm really digging this Christine Toy Johnson as well. But Claudia Stedlin, she's got a nice little Sigourney Weaver look going on there.
She's the only one I'm looking at that I actually want to fuck. I mean, I'd fuck Patrick Stewart over Claudia Stedlin.
Well, let's go with our top 3 then, with Saxon Trainer at number 1, Christine Toy Johnson number 2, and Patrick Stewart number 3.
Quick Cool Boy updates. I'm drinking NyQuil.
Woo! Felk's finally getting to his drink.
Hell yeah. I'm going Mel Gibson on this, and that's my final offer.
You're going to put Mel Gibson in the bod?
Yep, he's number 1.
All right, so then it's going to go Saxon Trainer, Mel Gibson, Patrick Stewart. That's our top 3 for hotties from Mel Gibson's hit film
Conspiracy Theory.
Julia Roberts looks like a horse. To NyQuil.
Don't stay up, Felk. We got to wrap this up. Otherwise, you're going to fucking have all kinds of serious, wacky dreams.
I actually don't really dream under NyQuil. I just
I don't dream anymore. Dreaming's for
so
children.
nice.
I wish I could lucid dream, though. That sounds fucking awesome. All right, well, guys, so before we move on, let's get these top 3 bods locked down. Noli, who are the top 3 bods?
I think it's Mel Gibson, Patrick Stewart, and then Steve Kahan.
Steve Kahan.
The 4th male listed on IMDb.
Oh, yeah, Steve Kahan. Yeah, I always thought that was like, what's his fucking... I was going to say it's Richard Donner's brother. That's what it looks like. Oh, it is. Oh, he's cousins.
They look exactly alike. But that's my top 3. Because the women you offer,
I don't know. Saxon Trainer's not too bad.
I'm not going to play this game tonight. I'm not playing.
No, Saxon's
not too bad. You're being mean. You're just being rude.
It's fucking Mel Gibson, Patrick Stewart, Stephen Kahan, a.k.a.
I love that Julia Roberts is
just
just not on this list no matter what. I think as long as Julia's not on there, I think the cool boys are happy. So moving on to Love That Dong.
The NyQuil will be in
Love That
soon.
Dong. Love That Dong.
Love that dong. Love that flat dong. Love that rapper basketball player dong.
All right, you heard it, folks. It's Love That Dong. That means it's time to name 3 celebs and guess who has the biggest dick and why. And this episode segment is called Flat Dongs because we're going to be discussing who's got the biggest dick when it comes to these 3 flat earthers. And that includes B.O.B., Kyrie Irving, and Shaquille O'Neal. Now, gentlemen, I have links. And, you know, they're all pushing it.
They're all black. Just say it.
They're all black, so they're averaging 10.5 inches.
They are. Outhouse.com does not lie.
Also, 2 of them are basketball players, which means that they're natural. Well, not naturally. They're just going to be tall on average, because you don't hire short basketball players. As I understand it, height as a factor in the game of basketball.
A second sports reference.
Felk is killing it. Felk is killing it tonight.
From Felk.
Run.
I don't know if I trust all the Shaq dong photos I see out there.
The man is 7 foot something. He has the biggest dick in the world, probably.
What is up with all these like visible penis lines though that all these guys are doing? Like, what is up with that? Are they all not wearing boxers? Are they just freeballing it in there so their dicks are pushed right up against helmet and fucking bell end, all squishing up against the sweat?
When your dick is 10.5 inches flaccid, according to outhouse.com, yes, you never wear underwear. You just have your flaccid cock hanging out at all times.
Correct.
Okay, well, you know what? If I have to then rank them, I guess I go Shaq is 1, and then maybe B.O.B. and then Kyrie.
I think Kyrie is more of a big fucking testicle man. He's taken some big shots in his basketball career. I think his testicles are larger than anyone's here. But
yeah, if you look at it, it looks like his nuts are pushing his dick out pretty far, but it looks like his dick just starts low. Not like it actually hangs low, it just starts low.
I love those guys who have these low starting dicks.
It's a fucking lie. Like it's
yeah. Their dick starts at like mid thigh and then goes down to their knees.
Huge dick. It's 2 inches. All right, yeah, I guess we go with Shaq. Shaq's number 1. That works for me.
Is there any?
Yeah, I mean, you just see that one link photo, and it's just like, good lord, that thing's bigger than my forearm.
Just size alone, like proportions. He should have the biggest dick.
Yeah.
If his dick is anything smaller than 10 inches, Shaq, you failed life. You failed.
Cool Boy Nation, tell us about any of your funny or interesting conspiracy theories. Also, if you have any questions or any more insight into our thoughts on conspiracy theories, then let us know.
And obviously, Cool Boy Nation, if you have any conspiracy theories you'd like to send us in case you want us to talk about it and obviously show how much we care and to give your topic a lot of warmth and effort behind it, and we won't just be like, stupid, it's a fucking retarded topic. But yeah, if there's other conspiracies, not funny, but if there's other conspiracies you thought, might be worth discussing, or just some things you think we should touch upon again, please let us know. And obviously, if you have any bodies or dongs you'd like to mention and throw in the mix for us to review and alert Cool Boy Nation too, please let us know, as we always love seeing those bodies and dongs as well. And I'm over it, Andy. You won, okay? I don't know if I can discuss this again, but you know what? Who knows? Maybe I'll forget next week.
New episodes of the Cool Boys Podcast come out every Tuesday. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Cool Boys Podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as the Cool Boys Podcast. You can email us at thecoolboyspodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube as The Cool Boys Podcast. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes as The Cool Boys Podcast. You can donate to us on Patreon and receive additional episodes of Cool Boys After Dark and a Cool Boys shout out on our normal episodes that air every Tuesday. You can find the Cool Boys on Patreon at patreon.com/coolboyspodcast.
Yep, man, we got to get that money. So give us some more of that money because we're going to make that goal. So thank you for everyone who's donated all your money to us already. It's going into, our goal.
Oh, the NyQuil's kicking in. Thank you for listening. Stay cool, Cool Boy Nation. Until then, it's Nazis from Felk.
It's Nazis from Felk? What?
It's Byzies from Felk.
And that's Byzies from Ballard.
Nazis?
It's the NyQuil.
To NyQuil.
Someone call Indiana Jones.
I hate these guys.
He also doesn't care for Indians. Not the thuggies. I always thought the thuggy ceremonies were stories told to frighten children. That's the gayest character.
You are standing American boy.
You have excelled in all things.
I pump while I dump. Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Get out of here, damn silly. Get out of here!
Oh, yeah.
This episode of the Cool Boys Podcast was brought to you by...
Phil, on a scale of 1 to 10, just let us know what the NyQuil effects, what do they feel like right now?
Mild. I just feel mildly woozy, but I know what's coming.
I think we should hang on until he feels like terrible, and then we should go past that and see what happens.
No, I'm taking a hit of my inhaler now so I can breathe. This is Narrowin. Remember Narrowin? Remember Narrowin? What movie's Narrowin from?
Get some
Cool Boys.
So serious.